For WLEW News, I'm Nick Varner. On Thursday, May 29th, Huron Medical Center received 2 hyperbaric chambers. Director of the Wound Care Center and Bariatric Center, Pamela Gates, and LPN Hyperbaric Chamber Operator Jenny Anderson sat down with me to discuss the acquisition. A hyperbaric chamber is a 9-foot by 5-foot horizontal cylinder that patients lay down inside. Jenny Anderson likened it to diving.
When you get in the chamber, we pressurize you so that it's like you're going undersea, and as you go deeper, the pressure gets greater, and we're feeding 100% oxygen into the chamber, so that oxygen perfuses throughout the body more so than at land level.
This increased pressure improves blood circulation throughout the body by promoting the growth of new blood vessels.
What it does is actually creates angiogenesis around the site of the wound, so you get increased blood vessels there. So that's going to help the patient to heal. Your blood carries that increased oxygen, so it's going throughout your body. So the healing effect isn't just where the wound is on the body, but instead throughout your body.
This process speeds up your body's natural healing functions as well as the effectiveness of antibiotics, and can aid in recovering from radiation sickness. The pure oxygenated environment can also serve to flush carbon monoxide from the body in the event of carbon monoxide poisoning. The technology is not a recent development, but an accepted, empirically tested science.
It dates back to actually back in the 1800s, and it's developed through time.
And the Navy developed it to treat divers who had the bends. That was the original development.
In the 1950s and 1960s, when you start seeing more medical research, and then I'd say back into the 90s, you used to start seeing more evidence-based that this does work for these diagnoses.
The Hyperbaric Center will follow already established Medicare guidelines for the treatment of certain conditions that have been empirically proven to be improved by this type of hyperbaric treatment. Other insurance providers such as Blue Cross Blue Shield also allow for this kind of treatment. Despite being a long-established medical practice, there are a few risks associated with being immersed in a pure oxygenated atmosphere.
There is a risk of oxygen toxicity, but we monitor the patient very closely while they're in the chamber. And if I see any symptoms or signs, then we have a mask in the chamber that they will breathe regular air to lower that oxygen level in their blood, and we'll bring them back to surface as well. And if you do become oxygen toxic, then you have a seizure. And the rate of seizures is very, very slim. So it's not, oh my goodness, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to become toxic. Very, very few people experience that. And the result is a seizure, which is not usually life-threatening.
Thus, hyperbaric chambers offer an array of healing opportunities with relatively low risk of mishap. The reason for Huron Medical Center's new acquisition was twofold. First, the closest hyperbaric treatment centers are in Saginaw and Port Huron. The period over which treatment must be followed also compounded the distance issue.
Treatments generally are 90 minutes, and that's once you're at depth. And treatments are every day, 5 times a week, for up to, however long the doctor wants, but until we feel that the progress cannot be made anymore.
And that's another thing. Most insurance companies, and we follow the evidence-based guidelines, but it tells us, at 30 days we need to see improvement in this wound or we'll discontinue treatment. I think there's some diagnoses that have upwards of, 70 times that they can have a treatment. But that's the important part too, is having that weekend break for the oxygen toxicity. Gives the body time to rest.
Because treatment needs to occur every day, many residents of Huron, Tuscola, and Sanilac counties found they could not make the trip to treatment centers in Saginaw or Port Huron. Thus, they often went without.
We knew from diagnoses that there were a lot of people up here with ulcers, chronic wounds that weren't seeking treatment. So we knew that the community needed this and supported it, and Huron Medical Center realized that need and decided to move forward with the comprehensive wound and hyperbaric center. It's been a couple years in the making. Huron Medical Center really did their research and decided to partner with Healogics Corporation, which is the management company that Jenny and I are employed by. But lots of doctors in the area were very supportive, because they were seeing patients in their offices that weren't willing or able to travel that long distance. Sometimes people have transportation issues because they're wheelchair bound, patients in skilled nursing facilities that aren't able to travel long distances. So we knew that it was important to bring this to the community, and Huron Medical Center really did their research and homework on it. So it's been a couple years in the making.
Huron Medical Center's Hyperbaric Treatment Center will be opening as soon as the new hyperbaric chambers are fully installed and operational. For WLEW News, I'm Nick Varner.